is just to make you aware of sort of this creative world of ours. And this is simply, it's just not information that I find that is wildly disseminated or all in one place or that most people are talking about. And it's certainly not summed up as succinctly as I plan on doing it today. So my hope is that you'll leave today energized, fired up for what you can start doing as soon as today, as you realize your creative dreams, your aspirations through your business. And my guess is you'll probably be nodding your head to some of the pitfalls and roadblocks that happen. So quick presentation, and then we'll get directly into your questions. And I'm happy to answer, like I said, any and all questions that any of you guys have. And so that is the ball game for today. So I want to start with, why you need to get this right and why you need to get it right now, this minute, okay? And there is a phenomenon with this industry that I've dubbed the Hotel California problem, okay? And it's based on the line from the famous Eagles song that says, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave, okay? It describes perfectly the creative gifting, okay, that you guys have. The desire to create and ultimately the validation and satisfaction that will only come from selling that art never leaves you guys. Throughout these past 10 years, okay, this situation shows up day in, day out, week in, week out. I routinely get folks from just about every season of their lives, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, sometimes showing up on my webinar saying, how can I grow my art business? How can I figure this thing out creatively, right? And they come seeking answers for, like, what can I do to get this business moving in the right direction? And many have been at it for decades and decades and are still trying to navigate their way there. And, like the Eagles song goes, they've checked out many times over the various different seasons of life, but they're right back here again, trying to figure it out because you can never leave. And so it's this constantly recurring question: how do I get it right? How can I get things right this time so that I'm actually growing and on the right path, right? Like, how can we start taking the steps necessary such that we don't ever have to check out from forward progress and in reality lose the precious time that you can't get back when you were working on the wrong things or, you quit? And I always start with this question, which is like, what size is your restaurant? Okay. What size is your restaurant? And as artists, as creatives, I see this across the board. Pretty much all of you guys have to wear all the hats all the time. You're solopreneurs. You have to create the art. You have to market the art. You have to price and sell the art. Then you have to print and or ship and or print and ship. Any combination there is the art. Then you have to do all the customer service and the bookkeeping and the admin. And you have to consistently do that all year long. And the problem here is you're doing that as a one-man band, right? And a solopreneur, if you like. And the reason I like to use the restaurant analogy is, as artists, you guys are essentially just chefs, right? And if you're a chef, it stands to reason the thing that you should be working on are the dishes and making those incredible so everyone is just lining up around the corner to get them, right? But the problem is that you can't be just the chef. You have to be the receptionist and the maitre d' and the waiter and the sommelier and the bartender and the busboy and doing the dishes after the fact, right? And it stands to reason if you were doing all of those jobs, your restaurant is never going to be able to serve more than a diner or two a night because it's just too much work, right? So, why am I bringing this up? Something has got to give if your restaurant is going to grow, if your art business has got to grow. We have to start taking some of these additional jobs off your hands so you guys can focus on the thing that matters, okay? Creating the art and doing the marketing that only you can do. And I think the restaurant analogy really holds true. So what do most creatives out there do? What have many of you done, I'm sure? It's you do the best you can. Perhaps you try an in-person show or fair or two. Or you try to get into a juried show. Or you do a cobble a website together, right? And try to do some marketing or do a collab co-op gallery or try to get into an actual art gallery. And you work at that. But in most cases, though, at a point, the rubber meets the road, things get tough, and artists, photographers, and creatives quit. Does any of that sound familiar? And it feels to me like it's the New Year's resolution, right? This is going to be my year. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to sign up for that gym membership. You sign up in January. You're going 4 days a week in January. March rolls along, and you haven't been once, right? And this just becomes this vicious cycle in this industry. So many artists and photographers fall into this again. And, you create this body of work, okay, because you're inspired and you love creating it. Then not enough work gets done. to actually get the work in front of enough eyeballs to find out if it'll actually sell. Then the work stops. You take a break. You get bored with that old body of work. And then you go on and you create the next body of work. And it's just this vicious cycle of rotating through and never getting enough eyeballs onto the work, right? So it's this combination of the restaurant analogy, the New Year's resolution, and my Hotel California line that is the biggest problem that plagues this entire industry. But there's good news in all of it in that there absolutely is a cheat code, okay? There absolutely is a way to sort it, and it's just time and consistency. What have I seen time and time again? That if we can keep our customers, and again, 10 years, 14,000 of them, if we can keep them consistent in their efforts and help them in those efforts so that they don't quit for months and years at a time, they'll make it. That's what it is. That's all it takes is just the consistency in doing the work. It's just that simple. Consistent forward progress, and you will win. Your business will continue to grow. You will make it. It is the cheat code. It's like, what's the question I get all the time? Hey, Patrick, what would you say is the number one thing all of your most successful customers have in common? And it's easy. They've been consistent at it, and they've never quit. 99% of artists never stay consistent, so the 1% that do win. It's the cheat code. It's the secret. And the best thing about it that we've learned over the years is it applies equally to absolutely everyone. The artist that's never sold anything. The artist that's only sold a few pieces. The artist trying to go full-time status, and even the artist selling tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. There's no magical number to this notion of time and consistency, okay? You guys are all in different seasons of life. Some of you have an hour or two to spend a week on this. Some of you have 10 hours a week. Some have 30. And every little combination in between, it doesn't matter what the hours are. It just matters that you stay at it consistently without ever stopping, right? That's the only thing that matters. Some seasons of life, you can only spend a little bit of time. Life happens. Other seasons of life, you can spend more. But the beautiful thing that I continue to see happen is that we are emotional creatures as artists, okay? And as you're humming along with your 1 hour or 2 hours a week that you can spend on this, you're going to get some sort of a win because you're doing the work, and your emotional reservoir is going to get filled up. And when that reservoir gets filled up, you end up spending more hours, and it just starts feeding on itself. Momentum is an absolutely real thing. So how to become a successful artist or a photographer, a creative, is a complex problem, and we like breaking it down into the commensurate pieces, okay? And it goes back to this restaurant analogy, and it informs and underpins everything that we do as a business at Art Storefronts. It's how can we take as many things off our customers' plates so that they have the time to simply create? How can we help empower the folks that don't have 10 hours a week to work on their business? How can we give you guys as many options as possible for whatever season of life you're in, such that the consistency is maintained? And that's quite literally everything that we do as a business. And so I'm going to highlight some of these features that we have, go through them quickly, explain some of them to you, but understand the underpinning theory of all of them is, how do we take these jobs away from you so you're just the chef in that restaurant, right? How do we get it down to that baseline level? So number one, a feature-rich website. Our sites are dedicated to creatives. They have all the bells, all the whistles, all the features, because that's what we're set up to do from scratch and have been for a long, long time. And, you know, over the course of the 10 years, we continue to make iterations to our website product, but there's really nothing out there out there on the internet. And over the years, you know, we've been reviewed tremendously positively, right? You know, we were reviewed over 2,000 times on Trustpilot, Facebook, and Google. Reviews you can check out. They're all public. They're all online. When you look at our competitors, though, okay, they all have lousy ratings. Every single solitary one of them, right? And you look at this, and you're like, what's going on here? How are you guys doing such a good job, and they're all doing such a bad job? Is it that their products are bad, or that their companies are bad? And no, absolutely it's not. It turns out setting up a website is a really difficult thing to do. Maintaining it is a difficult thing to do, okay? And that's why, starting about 3 years ago now, I think, we start building the websites for you. You do not want to learn how to speak HTML, CSS, JavaScript, GoDaddy, or plugins or anything else. It's just not a good use of creative's time, so we eliminate it. We build the entire website for you. You don't have to worry about any of this technical stuff. Our team solves all the hurdles for you. You know, I go back to those reviews. They're all reviewed in terrible capacity because website technology is difficult and nobody wants to deal with it and nobody wants to stay up to date with it. And you don't have the time to. You need to be creating if the business is going to go somewhere, right? So I love that part of it. And it's one less headache for creatives when we build it for you. And your website gets live in a much shorter fashion, okay, which is incredible. We also have taken it one step further, and we've come up with this product called the Tech Assistant, which means you will never have to update your website ever again, period, okay? If you need a change, you need to add images, remove images, raise the prices, add a new gallery, update your artist statement, put in a press section, you tell us what to do, we'll do it for you. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to do a thing. You don't have to be techie. We will take care of it. And it's an option. If you feel techie, you want to do that, that's great. We got it covered. But if you don't, we can take care of it for you. And you can go on this plan, off this plan at any point in time. If you're busy for a season of life and you don't want to touch it, great. If you want to get off it, you can do that. So it's a wonderful option, we think. We've also really, really nailed print on demand. And print on demand is one of the greatest things that's ever happened to this industry, as far as I'm concerned. And it works equally well for merchandise as it does for art prints. Summarized succinctly, once your images are uploaded, in one click, you choosing a vendor. We have a vendor on the West Coast called Bay Photo, huge company. Another one on the East Coast called Graphic Dimensions on the print side of the house. And then we have a company called Guten that takes care of the merch side of the house. But the way that it works, you get an order, you get paid, the printer gets paid, the printer prints it, boxes it, ships it, the system sends out all the emails, and you don't lift a finger. You don't need to get out of bed. You don't need to be in the country. You don't need to be anywhere, and the options are myriad. And I'm, as someone that, 45 years old, in my day, it was hold inventory, have minimum orders, right? Ship them out yourself. The fact that this is handled for you without having to lift a finger is us effectively being able to take away another one of those jobs. You don't have to interface with the printer. You don't have to send tracking numbers. You don't have to drive down there and go look at prints. All of it is taken care of here. One more way to make you consistent in your work and in your marketing. Let's talk about support. We're with you every step of the way in all the ways imaginable. Yes, chat. Yes, custom videos. Yes, tickets. Yes, phone calls. Yes, personal Zooms. Yes, group Zooms. We do it all. And if you read any of our reviews, the number one thing that we are reviewed for is how good our support system is. And it's there with you every single solitary step of the way. And again, I go back and I show that like how negative our competition has been reviewed. And again, the reason is not because those guys have crappy products. There's some great website products in there. There just are, okay? It's the fact that they don't have good support and the fact that they don't have community, which I'll get to in a second. But you're going to run into issues, okay? You're going to run into tech headaches, and you don't have the time to be searching forums, searching Google, searching YouTube, filling out forms, a hope and a prayer that it's going to get fixed. It just needs to be done, and it needs to be simple. And if we can do that, more time for you to create art, more time to do the marketing. And another thing that I've learned along this journey is we've solved for the now what, okay? Let me talk about the now what. There are a myriad of options out there where you can go get a website, guys. They're all over the place. There's vendors up and down. Some are free, some are super cheap, some are this, some are that, some are great, whatever. None of them solve for the now what. And now what is, okay, great. My website's up. It's live. It's completed. Now what? What do I do? Do I send an email? Do I run a sale? Do I announce that my store is open? How do I get the word out? How do I attract eyeballs? There's not any of the rest of them that concretely and conclusively solve for the now what. What are you going to do now that the website is live? The website is just the ticket to the game, quite frankly. Once the art is up there, that's all well and good, but many of you have had websites, and what happens if you don't do anything after the fact? Nothing. No one sees it. There's no orders. There's no sales. It's just a pretty portfolio that's on the web that's no one's seen. So you got to solve for the now what, okay? And one of the greatest ways that we solve for the now what is with this product that we call office hours. And we run about 9 of these a week, okay? And they are internal Zoom sessions. Oh, it's already running. They're internal Zoom sessions just like this that we run with our customers. Why is it just running?
How do I capitalize on these people who are interacting with me on my personal page?
But what I want you to do in that custom artwork strategy is promote the pet portraits to that audience.
So how is it that the print cost is paid or charged?
How wide do we go in terms of niches?
Do you have any advice or playbook for showing your...
You're going to end up having those questions week in, week out for the rest of your art selling career. Week 1, month 1, year 2, year 5, year 10. There's going to be issues with Facebook. There's going to be issues with Instagram. There's going to be issues with email. You're going to wonder about SEO. You're going to wonder what's the best pricing strategy for this in-person show or fair you're doing. You're going to wonder how to negotiate with a gallery, what the best booth setups are. Should you advertise in this magazine? What merchandise items should you sell? Should you be running a sale? These questions never, ever, ever go away. And if you don't have a community built in, if you don't have this support built in, week out, that is why the artists and photographers quit. That is why all of these reviews are so negative. Because after the site is live is when the game actually starts. If you have that support, the entire ball game changes. You have somewhere you can go, instead of being frustrated and pulling your hair out of your head and searching forums and trying to figure it out. All of that is just going to be good to go right out of the gates. And it's just such a powerful thing. I would go as far to say it has probably become the #1 bit of secret sauce that we have as a business. The fact that you will be supported for the rest of your art selling life, any and all questions you have that you need to get answered is going to happen. And in addition to that, you're going through this same journey of trying to figure this out, trying to figure out how to market, trying to understand social media sites, trying to send emails with a large group of your peers that is suffering just like you on learning how to do all this stuff for the first time, right? It's hard. It's hard. Like, where do you go otherwise? And so I believe it's really evolved into the secret sauce. We talk about taking jobs off your plate. Our next iteration is the thing that we call CoPilot. It's now morphing into a thing that we call the Marketing Hub. But we are now doing a portion of the marketing for our customers as well. Because we have all of your images on a website that we have control of, we have entire control of the store, and we have all of your contacts because we database those for you. We are able to then integrate your Facebook, then integrate your Instagram account, and do marketing for you on your behalf consistently week in and week out all year long. We're able to execute sales and do things like pick a featured item on your store, run a sale on it, create a coupon code, email your list, post on the socials that you're about to have a sale, go through with the sale. After the sale's done, wind all that stuff back and turn your site back to normal. We're able to do that without you lifting a finger. And the features available to everybody in a different package. Sometimes we include packages depending on what specials we have, but it's one of those things you can use it or you cannot use it, okay? And essentially, the way that I like to think about it, the analogy that I like to give is like, it's no different than you owning a retail gallery and you needing to be in that retail gallery and talk to every person that comes in, right? And show off the work and show the prices and do that. You wouldn't do that as an artist. You would have a gallerist do that for you. Well, CoPilot is essentially your gallerist. It's working for you week in, week out. It's rotating through your collection. It's posting to the socials, and it's making sure, back to this consistency thing, that you'll never not be consistent. You guys, you'll never not be consistent. So that's a small tinge of our features, and we have so much more. And again, all of it's designed, okay, to just keep creatives, save creatives time and keep them consistent, right? Keep them on that forward trajectory and still going on that path. And we believe that's essentially what is going to determine, like, you know, whether you're successful and keep going forward and make it. And as a final, one of the things that we've learned over the course of these years is that there's no one path that works for everyone. We have an insanely diverse customer base, okay? We have customers that are selling in galleries primarily and then doing some marketing. We have customers that own their own galleries, which, by the way, is a trend that I absolutely love. That's like, we have some people that are doing extremely well with that when you own the gallery yourself. We have customers that are road and show fair warriors, road warriors, I guess would be the right way to say it. Some that are doing 3 to 5 shows a year, some that are doing 30 shows a year, okay? We have some customers that are mostly selling direct. We have some customers that just sell originals. We have some customers that sell the originals, the prints, and the merch. We have some that use us for their printing. We have some that do their own printing. There's a total mixed bag from top to bottom about who uses what, when, where, and for what reason. And any combination is available to you, right? Our job is to say, hey, here are all the resources that we have. We have playbooks, we have education, we have training, we have teaching, we have templates on no matter what you're going to do. If you're going to do an in-person Thayer show, I have one of the most comprehensive, incredible guides to in-person Thayer shows you've ever seen. Completely changes the game. Almost no artists and photographers know about these tricks and are using them. So we love, and I should also mention, we have a ton of artists that are teaching people to create art. and painting in one capacity or another. We have artists that are teaching photography. We have artists that are taking people into national parks and teaching them how to do spectral nighttime photography. It doesn't matter to us. I have never met a revenue source, as long as it's legal, that I don't like for creatives. Our job is to say, hey, you guys have got a creative talent. Let's get at this, figure out the best ways to monetize this creative talent, and do it. So you can do any of it, some of it, anything in between, all completely up to you. So that is sort of what we do, who we are in a nutshell. Now, to see individual plans and to go through a tour of the entire software, we do a demo process. We can talk about that. I can have someone call you. There's forms to fill out on the site. All right. Well, thank you for indulging me on my video. Sort of explains at a high level who we are, what we do, you know, what we have going on as a business. And yeah, it's fascinating. The Hotel California thing, especially, like, you guys just do not ever lose this desire to create and have a business out of it and have a business that's growing. It's a wild thing of this entire deal. But enough about me. We can get directly into your questions. If you are old school and you have the camera on, all you got to do is raise your hand. I'll see that you have a question. I can bring you on and unmute you. For everyone else, at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's a raise hand button. It might be under the more section, and that lets you raise your hand digitally speaking. And then I can bring you in and you can ask any question you have about anything. If you're one of the ones that's watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I can see your comments as well. And so I can bring those in. And it usually just takes one brave soul to kick us off. So does anyone want to be that brave soul today with a question? Lejeune, I like it. Way to go. I knew I could count on you.
How are you, everybody doing today?
Good.
I want to ask you a question about, because what I do is I'm a artist. I paint canvas, acrylic.
Okay.
Is it a world out there for it? Because I have over 200 and something paintings. I've been painting since 2020, and I've sold 1, 2, 3 pieces to family or close associates, you know, and but I just don't know how to get into it, like, so heavy, and I don't have the funds to just, I wish I had a brick and mortar, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't, you know, and I don't know, I just don't know, you know, I don't know if I should be framing my canvas paint, my acrylic paintings, if I should be putting the gloss on it. I don't know, you know.
Yep.
So,
well, let's start at the beginning. Have you attempted to sell the work anywhere thus far?
Just only to like a couple of people that I know. So I've sold about 3 or 4 paintings, you know, and I'm actually selling it for less than I see the market that's out there, you know, for the painting, you know, just to be able to make some money back, to just put it back into the art supplies and stuff.
Yep. I hear that story all the time. You know, early on, you want to try and figure out whether or not it'll sell, and whether or not it'll sell not to people named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends, right? Because they'll buy anything always. What I like doing early on, especially as if you never sold anything, is see if you can't get yourself into an in-person event of any kind. And there are ways to do this, like guerrilla marketing style, all the way to, like, you know, paying for an art fair or show. The guerrilla marketing style that I love is, like, have a garage sale and put all of your art in it and start negotiating and see what happens, right? Because garage sales are such a popular phenomenon in this country that when you have one of those things, you know, assuming you have a house where you have a yard or whatever, you can put it in front. Like, you're gonna get into a ton of conversations with a ton of people, and all it takes is, like, selling 2 or 3 pieces, and you're gonna be so energized and fired up. So you can do that all the way to, like, a farmer's market thing or an art fair or an actual show. It's a great way to, like, immediately get feedback and figure out whether or not the work will sell and get some momentum going, right? You know, everybody loves leaning on the digital stuff and then goes and spends all this time on putting a website up, when, like, the number one thing you want to do is just get that art in front of eyeballs and figure out whether or not you're on the right track. You could be on the right track, right? You won't know until you get it in front of eyeballs. So that's what I would say in terms of, like, something you can get done immediately, you know? And I live in a beach town in California, and there's a lot of people that don't even pay for anything, and they just get a table, they drive down to the beach, they set their table up, and they go for it. No permit, no nothing, right? So there's ways to creatively do it where you don't have to come out of pocket a dime to see if you can get a couple of those sales under your belt and see what happens, have some conversations, right? And I find that when you get into that scenario, it's really, really handy to just do the make me an offer strategy. Because pricing is one of these things that like so many people get so hung up on, right? And there's formulas for pricing, and we can talk about some of those, but really the most important thing is to figure out whether or not there's demand for the work, right? So when you're in that booth, when you're in that table, if somebody's looking at something and they're giving you a couple of compliments, and you could just say, I would normally sell something like that for such and such, but make me an offer. And then just shut up and see what they say, right? And then at least you're involved in a conversation. You can see where it goes. So I find that to be really helpful.
Great. I appreciate that. I needed to hear that. And I will. I'm going to start. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to just step out there,
You have to. Yeah.
See where it takes
you have to. Yeah. And like I said, like I love the guerrilla ways about going about it. I have this like coffee shop that I have to go to on the weekends because my kids love these cinnamon rolls, right? And it's like kind of like on a main drag going down there. And I see this one artist, and he just puts like 10 easels out in front of his house and just puts all of his work up and just sits there all day with his garage open, right? So it's like, you figure out how to do it however you can do it, but you got to get that validation. And let me tell you, a couple of sales and the emotional gas tank gets so filled up, you'd be so fired up to, take the next steps and do it. That's what I love about it.
And so what do you think, and I appreciate that, and what do you think about the paint itself? Like being the acrylic. Like
don't worry about that. Yeah, that's immaterial at all. It doesn't matter. It could sell like hotcakes or not, but it's not going to come down to whether or not it's acrylic. Like that's definitely a hot medium. So don't worry.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much. I love you for all you're telling us. You're so informative, and I need that, and I'm sure others do too as well.
So
thank you so much for addressing my question. Okay.
Thank you, and do an in-person thing, and then email me, tell me how it went.
I promise you, I will.
Okay. Thanks, Jen. Yep, Winfred, I see your hand up. I'll get you next. You'll need to unmute, Winfred. It's the mic icon, bottom left-hand corner. Usually just one click on the mic icon, and that'll do it.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, my name's Winfred.
Nice to meet you.
I've been painting for a number of years now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on disability.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only earn $1,500 a month. So without losing my disability benefits.
Got it.
So is it really worth it for me to do it?
Well, I mean, it's a question for you, right? I couldn't answer that question. Only you could. I think, you need to find out, right? You kind of like Lejeune too. Like you need to find out whether or not the work will sell, and I think you should find that out and then make the decision, right? And then make the decision, and see what happens, because that would put you in a different place. But that's a tough question to answer otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think you should give it a shot, because you're always going to be wondering otherwise.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't go away. That's what I was saying in my presentation. Like I see it time and time and time again. So, our goal is always just to push and motivate and encourage and say, like, get out there, give it a shot, see what happens. You never know,
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
You let me know if you have another question.
Okay.
Beth's asking, how do you put your hand up? There's like a more button on the bottom of Zoom, and that'll let you raise your hand digitally speaking. All right, Fab, you're up next, and then Susan, I'll get you, and then Beth. You know what? Don't even put your hand up, Beth. I'll just get you after. And Fab, hit the mic icon bottom left. You'll find it, and just usually one click on that thing, and it'll do it.
There you go.
Gotcha.
All right. So I just have a quick, simple question.
Yeah.
I'm an artist, been an artist for a while, but as far as selling one-on-ones and selling multiples, I'm dealing with celebrities on pretty much like on a networking base.
Okay.
And let's say I paint a picture of a celebrity. I do a painting of a celebrity, and of course they want it gifted to them, and that'll be like a one-on-one situation.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to work out some kind of contract or some kind of way to get the rights to sell multiples and be against their image. I need their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
consent to sell multiples? Like, far as copywriting and everything, how's the law on that?
Yeah, so we're not lawyers, so we don't necessarily know 100% what the answer to that question is. So you gotta. I have to preface it by like, we're not lawyers, right? This is not legal advice. But what I would tell you more broadly is that, rightly or wrongly, a tremendous amount of artists do it. A tremendous amount of artists do it without asking for permission, and nothing ever happens. So that just needs to be said because it happens. I would go even further to say, I have customers that are directly leveraging these scenarios in a way that you wouldn't think. And let me explain. The hardest thing to do is to actually get to the celebrity, okay, and get their attention such that they might give you the rights, right? These people have gatekeepers and walls set up. You ain't getting anywhere near them. It's so hard. So I have some customers that will, and that are sell a lot, that will create the work and put it out there just so that the celebrity's representatives will contact them. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it works. It works. She's had it happen like a couple of times, because then instead of you going to get them, they're coming to get you. Now, more broadly, I think if some of those copyright holders had an issue with the work, what they normally do is they send you a cease and desist letter. And the cease and desist letter just means stop. Okay. And then at that point in time, yeah. I'm
trying to evade the cease and desist and go straight to.
Yeah, we're not doing cease and assist. We're doing assist and assist. I love that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think you can do it. I think, again, it's not legal advice, and I don't know what the right legal advice is. Like, everything is a derivative work in today's day and age anyway, right? Like, they're constantly having this argument right now about AI and how AI goes out and scans the entire internet, right? And then the corollary is like, okay, a musician listens to 5 different musicians, comes up with their own song and remixes it a little bit. Did they steal from that musician? So I think it's a more broad societal, discussion to have. But I would just keep doing you. And, the reality is that, let me give you another one. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Who is it, Drake?
This is Nipsey Hussle. He died a little while back.
Yeah.
I'd have to get the consent from Lauren London or his brother Black Sam.
Got it. Yeah, I think I would just keep doing. I mean, this is my advice, and again, it's not legal. I would keep doing what you're doing and hoping that your pieces attract enough attention that they would start contacting you. That's honestly how I would go about doing it.
And with the contact, do I already have the contract in hand as far as what I want from them? Or because I'm not trying to stop at no cease and desist. I'm not stopping.
Yeah. I think I figured that. I would say, what happens in these situations is when they contact you, they'll have a deal in mind, and you're going to be so stoked that you got the deal in the first place. You pretty much have to take whatever they want, right? Because you just want to get your foot in the door, because they all have the same managers, right? And they're all working with the same like business managers and people, merchandisers and everything else. And so once you get your foot in the door, it's on, right? But I'll tell you a crazy story. Okay. There is a customer that we have that loves going to a certain theme park that might have something to do with a mouse, right? He goes in there. He sets up his tripod. He takes these incredible photos inside there. You would think that would be a huge issue for that park that has something to do with the mouse. Turns out it's not. They actually encourage it because they feel like it drives marketing to the park, right? So those scenarios can come up too. So just make sure you're open and easily messageable on Instagram, and I would say go for it. But again, not legal advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could somewhat use the mouse as long as I let them know I'm using them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'd say. And definitely tag them every time,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely give the credit back to who, you know what I mean?
For sure.
All right, sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam. All right. Next up is Susan. You're up next. Go ahead, Susan. And then I'll get Pat.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Everybody. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm busy, and I see everybody up there, and I'm pro artists, pro creatives. I'm and also entertainment business.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm a good contact for everybody anyway. Hi. Meanwhile, first I'm going to address one person with a disability. And way back when I took on the federal disability cuts, and they ended up overturning across the country. I did it for free. They put it in with a major lawsuit. I'm not an attorney, but you might want to talk to an attorney and ask about a nonprofit.
For the art, you mean?
For the art. Think that way, and you may or not get so much a stipend. Think that, or be in the board of directors or something like that. Most people say they don't want a board of directors; they want a board of advisors. Because if you get a board of directors, then they can go ahead and fire you easier, so you lose control of your nonprofit.
Gotcha.
Also, that might help with Fab Saint over there. Also, with the entertainment business, I'm also in contact. I'm also a set designer. I've done major productions. But meantime, I'm looking at this scenario, and you're right on the AI, on what's going to be copied or not.
Yeah.
You sound like you're a very excellent platform. We've been corresponding back and forth for a number of years. I'm interested, and I have my son is now involved. He's also an artist. He got the art awards in New York City before.
Oh, awesome.
So he's across the pond right now, and I gave him your contact information. But everyone grab my name. I'm Susan Van Skyke, St. Laurent. I'm also a designer. Remember Yves St. Laurent?
Oh, of course.
Yes, I was the one he got mad at one point because he didn't want a female competing with him.
Boom.
So it's me.
Susan is a woman of many talents here.
So I'm a good contact for everybody here. At one point, I was putting together an arts group. They wanted me president of something up in the Northeast. We were going to go ahead and do a lawsuit against the starving artists. We're going to do a massive lawsuit, but everybody got mad at us for the starving artist sales. So I'm really pro artist. I'm active in a lot of art communities, but I'm good contact for everybody. I am interested in coming on board, but we'll talk at a certain time. Okay.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate the advice. Okay. Next up is Pat. Go ahead, Pat. And you'll need to unmute too, Pat. Yep, gotcha. Oh, no. So, Pat, what's happened is if you like when you are on Zoom, sometimes you have multiple microphones, and the fact that I can't see the audio moving on yours tells me you probably have multiple. So if you want to just play with that, there's like a little up arrow to the right of the microphone, and I'll leave you unmuted. And yes, Beth, I'm going to grab you next. Thank you for reminding me. Sometimes there's a lot of moving pieces here. Okay, Beth, you're up next.
Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. We got you.
Okay. I have been watching you for a long time, and I think everything you're just awesome in what you have to say, and very knowledgeable.
Thanks for that.
So I graduated from an art school way back in the 80s, and I never did anything with it. And I have been battling cancer for 2 years.
I'm sorry
so
to
I
hear
haven't had time to do anything. I'm doing good, but I'm going the natural route. It makes it hard because there's a lot of research involved and a lot of faith. Yeah. But anyway, I really need to do this because I could use the income, but I don't have money to put into it. So I'm wanting to know how much money do you actually need to get started with y'all, and how much is required each month? Does it vary for what you want to do? Like, I know you offer a lot of different things, or is it just across the board the same thing?
No, we
that's the only thing holding me back.
Yeah, we have a bunch of different plans and a bunch of different offerings, and some are way less expensive than others, and you can move up and move down plans and sign up for things and discontinue them at any point in time. We make it really, really easy. What I would do, Beth, is get a demo and then kind of just let them know what your scenario is and where you are, and explain to them, and they'll outline all the options for you.
Oh, okay. Because it's really hard, just to even think about getting started when you don't have an income yet.
Oh, for sure.
And I can't. It's like we have so much going on. Otherwise, it's hard to ask my husband to support me. It's something I want to do for myself.
Yeah, I totally respect that. Have you tried selling? Have you tried selling the art anywhere?
I have had people interested in my art for sure. I can do pet portraits, all that. I've done, a wedding. What do you call it?
Like live painting a wedding.
No, not live painting, but the invitations, a wedding crest, the intricate wedding crests that are really
awesome.
Watercolors, pretty.
Yeah.
And I do watercolors. I can do oil and acrylic. And, I'm from the Low Country, the East Coast, so I'm very much into all that. Just, marshes and all that kind of thing.
Awesome.
But I just haven't had for a while, I just didn't have the energy to pursue it, and I definitely don't have the money right now. So I'm just wondering, how in the world do you just break through and start?
Yeah. It's the hard thing about hard things, right? Because you have your health battles, and that's going to hurt your energy levels to begin with, and then you got to have the energy to get this thing up, running, and roaring, right?
Exactly.
One thing I would say,
and you don't want to get to the end of your life and be like, I wish I had tried. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like,
yeah, I think
you at least gotta give it a go.
Yeah, you 100% have to give it a go. And I think some of the advice that I gave earlier, like you don't have to hang the whole thing on needing to get a website up immediately, right? Like doing the commitment of a local fair or show, or doing the garage sale if you want to go guerrilla marketing status is a great way to
find the interest first, and then pursue the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I think. Like, for me, I want you taking a positive step immediately because I don't want you to wait, right? Because you wait, and then the weeks turn into months, turn into years, and you haven't made any forward progress.
Oh yeah,
right. And
exactly.
And we all kind of intuitively know that comes, right? Because you're marinating on things, you're thinking it through, and then nothing ever happens. So, but if you I would go and get a demo, Beth, and find out what our cheapest plan is, and they might be willing to work with you because you're having health issues, and then. See if they can't get you set up on something that would be amenable. At least find out what all those numbers are that that they'll work with you on, and then if not,
okay,
I think sign up for a Therapy show and don't wait. Just do it. Have it on the calendar.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
you're brilliant. Thank you for doing these things.
I really appreciate you saying that, Beth, and I hope you get well soon.
Thank you.
Cancer sucks. I lost my dad super young to cancer. He was just 60. Not a fan of that disease in the slightest. Not to say that anyone is, but anyway. Who else, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? Can be anything about anything. Like I said, if you're one of the brave ones with the camera on, you can do the old school hand raise. If not, there is a raise hand button in Zoom, or you can throw something in the chat too, and I can answer that. I can't read that; it's so small. Fairly Shia, you can just hit the website and put in a demo, and we'll contact you. That's the easiest way. And yep, cool that you're on Shopify. I know it's the now what, right? It's the now what, and it's like okay, my website's up. Now what? What am I going to work on? What's going to get me there? What are the things that I can focus on? All right, Fab, you got another question? Let's go. Let's do this.
Yes, sir. I just got one quick last one.
Mm-hmm.
As far as zoning and area, culture and community, like what would be the best way to attack that? I know West Coast has their style. Up north, I mean, it's different circles, it's different things. I had a gallery out here. They tell me I'm nice, like no lower than 2,500 if I'm painting, no lower than 1,800 if I'm drawing. But she had a preference on what type of art I presented.
Okay.
And that kind of like stopped me from moving forward with her gallery, because I do a lot of urban, and she was saying like if I do some, other type of style art, then it'll go further.
Yeah.
So what is your take on that, like as far as region and like culture wise?
Yeah, I don't really get hung up on any of it, and the reason I don't is because at the end of the day, it's all nonsense, right? Like we're all essentially looking for a tribe that is interested in what we do, and they're going to be interested largely based on your style and whether they like it and whether they relate to you and whether they relate to your story, right? So I don't think you have to get as hung up on it as you think, like East Coast, West Coast, like urban, not urban, right? Like as long as you keep creating and you keep marketing and you're getting the word out there, you also figure a lot of those things out as you go, right? And oftentimes your audience figures it out for you. You have 4 different styles on your website, and you market all year long, and then at the end of the year, there's one style on your website that's 80% of the revenue. Well, guess what? Your audience has just told you have a niche now. start doing more of that, right? Or the opposite could happen. And I see that happen all the time where it's like a smattering of everything sells. And it's like, guess what? You're the brand just as much as the artwork is the brand. People buy into you just as much as they buy into the artwork and your story. And so that's a huge thing to keep in mind too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm clarifying that because I really felt like how she put it seemed like it was a very big bias in sales and how you get seen, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's just her gallery, which is one tiny little corner of the world, right? Like, you know, with these things and the fact that everyone's walking around with one of them all day and the fact that you can reach them just by posting on social, you don't have to be pigeonholed into any one thing, you know? Not in the slightest. But also, like, look, there might be a body of work that she would take in the gallery. That doesn't mean all of your work has to be that either. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna come get you.
Okay? Yeah, you can still do your other stuff too.
All right, definitely. Thank you for clearing that up.
Thanks, Fab. All right, next up is Sam. I'm going to unmute you, Sam. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I'm wondering, are there qualitative people in your organization who could give you feedback on your actual art?
Yeah, all day long.
Do you have contacts for that kind of thing?
Yeah, all day long. I mean, we have a huge community, so you end up getting it individually. The crazy thing about it, though, is that it's like picking horses. You can't do it. No one can do it. It makes no sense. There's no rhyme and there's no reason sometimes. I mean, some of my artists who I think are some of my most talented artists don't sell as well as some that I don't think are talented at all. And the point of it is it's kind of like picking horses, you know, at the horse race. Like, really, the only in notions of this are I got into a juried show and I won best in show. It's like, okay, that's wonderful, but is the work selling? Because it doesn't matter. Really, the only feedback is the transaction. That's what we're all looking for, right? And the work's got to move.
How are there ways? If you were looking for someone, let's say within your organization or who's associated with you, a client, are there methods to try and see someone whose work you admire or whatever, and then you say, "Hey, man, could you possibly give me some feedback?" I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah. That happens all the time. So we have all of our artists in one Facebook group, and then we have some tangential ones off of that. And people are posting their work and getting feedback all the time, every single solitary day. And you've got a lot of really talented artists and photographers in there. So, you know, they give you really substantive and good quality feedback every single solitary time.
Okay, and then one other quick follow-up, sort of related, but not exactly. And that is, if you have somebody, let's say like yourself, I don't know how big your organization is, you kind of end up meeting at some point or corresponding and communicating with. Is there any possibility of having that person be someone you're connected to?
I'm sure I totally understood that.
Well, it's basically like if you and I developed a relationship, let's just say that, you know, I worked in an industry where there were a lot of things like that. Is it possible that you could then know that would be a person to go through when you have a particular issue you're trying to work through?
Oh yeah. All the time. And there's multiple of us inside that's like that. And, you know, we have 9 Zoom sessions like this one every single solitary week, every week. And so you can pop in, you can get your questions answered directly. You can put them to the audience. You can get feedback in the chat. You know, you can talk with anyone on our team. Like we're extremely open in that capacity, let alone like the little customer groups that form too. So all of the above.
Okay, well that's good to know. And it was related to, you know, how generic does your service have to be because you have so many clients, you know? That kind of thing.
Yeah. It's funny. It's not generic. It's not generic in the slightest, actually. We do more after the fact, after the website is live, than any other company that I'm aware of. You know, and have been doing so for like a number of years. And it's the community portion of it just ends up being so insanely important. It's crazy because instead of being on this journey by yourself, you're going through with a group of your peers. You've got mentors that are teaching in every capacity imaginable, staying up to date with the latest marketing, this, that, and the other. And all of that just ends up being extremely helpful.
Thanks. That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. I really dig the background in the office here too. Something about that wood that it's just very comforting. But I'm a fan.
Oh, thanks.
Office goals right there, you guys. Office goals. Okay. Who else, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? Can be anything about anything. Susanna was asking for, do you have a link with samples of your websites? Yes, I can email you that. Show you a bunch of different ones. We have, a whole range of different customer websites that we can sell you, show you, show you, display you, all of the above. In addition to the replay, when I send that, you guys, I'm also going to send you an article on pricing, which is really, really good. And for those of you guys that are doing fairs and shows, I'm going to send you my ultimate guide to doing those, which is like mega in depth, has a ton of different tradecraft on how that all looks. And I know we've got a pretty crazy deal too, running towards the end of the month here that's going to end at the end of the month. So if you've never seen a demo, definitely encourage you to get a demo, and see all the bells, all the whistles, all the plans. Suzanne is asking, what about your communities? Are they just on Meta? No, we have some in Discord. Some are just via text messages. Some meet on Zoom. It really spans the gamut quite a bit. Yeah, Leah, there's links all over our website and all the rest, but I'm going to write your name and Brian's name down so I don't forget, and then you don't have to fill out any doggone forms, and you can just have somebody reach out. Hold on. Leia. Brian. In fact, I'm just going to screenshot it. That will make my life even easier. So many notes, so many things to do all the time. All right. But what else, guys? Any other questions? You're here. You're going to be like, why didn't I just ask? Yeah, Sam, I'm just going to have people follow up with you because I already have your email address. So you guys don't have to worry about it. I don't want to have to make you fill out a form, if you don't have to, because nobody wants to fill out a form. Leia, your hand's up. I can answer your question.
Hey, sorry if it's loud. I'm at the gym.
All good.
I'm not even entirely sure what you guys do. Are you setting up a website
Yep.
for us and then also selling our art for us?
We don't sell the art for you. Okay. What we do is we provide a website. So your art is on the website. It's essentially your online art gallery, leiaharper.com, if you like. And then all year long, we support you and teach you how to grow it. Now, we do have some services, okay, that do some of the marketing and selling for you, but some folks are on those plans, some folks are not on those plans. So we have so many different moving pieces. That's why we do the demo process. It clears it all up. Today's session is just like a meet and greet. Here's what we think. Here's what we do. It's a little confusing, admittedly. We got to do a better job of explaining everything that we do on the website. But did that make sense? Yep, I lost you, Leia. I'm going to unmute you again.
Yes, it made sense, but I don't know. So I have like a partial website. Like I have the domain name, I have access to WordPress, that kind of thing. But that's as far as I got. Like, can you guys finish it for me, or do I just have to start all over?
No, you wouldn't start over at all. We would grab a bunch of the stuff that's on there and then just move it to ours for you. So no, you don't have to do it yourself.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yep.
Thanks. Case in point of all the the headaches that you guys don't need, which is like, do any of you really want to be web programmers? If that's what you do on the side, fine. But otherwise, to not have to do that and to get the time back to create the art is incredibly impactful, incredibly important. It's all about how many jobs that we can take off of your hands for you so you can keep creating. That's really what it comes down to. And yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Beth. Appreciate those comments in the chat. All right, Fab, I like it. You're taking advantage.
No, you said with the web programming, far as how many programs and like what level are we talking about as far as web designing?
No, I'm saying we do it for you. You don't have to design anything. You don't have to know anything.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So what levels and like how in depth are we talking about?
Like full blown, full focused e-commerce website that does it all for you. So you don't have to touch a line of code. Nothing.
Does it have to be any like platform in particular or any like
it's
site or service in particular?
It's our platform, and then you just pick whatever the domain is. Like you buy a domain at GoDaddy or wherever you buy it, and then you just point it at our install, and you're off to the races. But you own the domain.
Would y'all be down to do Roku? That's what I'm working on now.
Roku, the TV app?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. We don't know. I mean, ours is just a website that's online. We don't really necessarily have anything going on Roku, although I do think it's fascinating. I have Roku devices in my house, so I'm a fan of what they do.
Yeah, on the developer app, that's what I'm working on now, getting my platform now onto Roku. So that's what I was saying. If I join on your platform, would your developers be willing to help do that? Take your platform, including mine, and put it on Roku.
Yeah, not currently, but we would probably teach you how to find a Roku developer that is what you want anyway. You want someone that just does Roku apps all day long, right? Rather than trying to learn how to do that yourself for the first time because it's super technical.
Yeah, I'm already up in it, so I'm kind of like pushing myself through it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it regardless.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what I was saying. If your team is down on that, as far as the development stage, the developers, I'll definitely join for that aspect.
Yeah, we definitely don't do Roku currently, but we would teach you how to find a developer if that's what you wanted to do. Are you literally multitasking and tattooing somebody right now? That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
It's amazing. Fab is going places. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, back to the job at hand. We got that thing coming out.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'll see about the Roku developers. If y'all can find somebody to help me with that,
yeah,
I'll definitely join.
All right.
So that's the last thing I have to do platform-wise. As far as the music, I have the royalty rights and everything. As far as the music, we have a radio station, so that's why I'm going to push towards the Roku.
Awesome. Love that, Fab.
More, a bigger platform. More viewers, more listeners.
Yep, I got you. Thanks, dude. Yeah, it's Roku's awesome. It lets me lock all the apps so my kids can't watch YouTube, which is hugely helpful too. All right, guys. Who else? Comments, questions, concerns? Anything final before we wrap up? Otherwise, like I said, I will be sending you guys all the replays should you want to review any of those things that we discussed, that we went through, along with some bells and some whistles. Also, for those that listen to podcasts, highly recommend our podcast. It has over 500,000 downloads, actually, at this point. And, what else about it? 60, 70 episodes, 200 reviewed 200 times. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that you might listen to podcasts. It's just right there. And then also, who just came in? Because I saw you come from Facebook. And if you have a question, you definitely want to answer it because you just got in here. Where did she go? Yeah, there, Lashia. We were close to wrapping up, but I know you came from Facebook and you just jumped in here. Nice work on that, by the way. If you've got a question, let me know. It's sort of amazing how that works. She was like watching live on Facebook and then boom, she figured out how to get into the Zoom and she's here. I love the way technology works. But if you have a question, or maybe I'll just unmute you and see if you do. If you do, you can let me know. And Doug,
thank you. I don't have a question right now, but thank you so much.
So wait, you left Facebook, jumped right into the email, and then got in here? That's pretty techy.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Well, okay. Well, you came at the very end of it because we're sort of wrapping it up. And Doug, I saw you joined too. So we're wrapping things up. I don't know if you guys have questions. If you do, I'm happy to answer them. But yeah. We've moved through all the questions and now everyone's just kind of staring at me like, what is this guy talking about? But anyway, appreciate all of you guys. Gonna send you the replay. Gonna send you all the resources. Like I said, there's some great stuff in there. And then, love to have you guys discover more. We'll be here. There's buttons all over the website. You can request a demo and we'll have somebody reach out and talk to you guys. But other than that, I hope everyone has an absolutely fantastic week and appreciate your time today.